Sarah Chen walked through the giant crystal doors of the Galactic Council building. Her black Earth uniform felt small compared to the colorful robes and armor of the alien delegates around her. She had been humanity's voice in this place for 5 years now. Today felt different, though. The alien faces that usually nodded politely at her now looked away. The main chamber was huge. Thousands of seats rose up in circles around a central speaking area. Each seat held a different alien species. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal. A few looked almost human but with extra arms or strange-colored skin. Sarah had learned to work with all of them over the years. High Chancellor Vextar stood at the center podium. He was a Zilani, tall and thin with blue skin and 4 arms. His people controlled the largest empire in known space. When he spoke, everyone listened. Today, his usual smile was gone. "We gather today to discuss the human problem," he said. His voice carried to every seat through hidden speakers. "For 50 Earth years, we have watched this species carefully. We have tested them in small wars. We have given them tasks to complete. We have studied their methods." Quote, Sarah felt her stomach drop. This was not the membership hearing she had been promised. She looked around and saw guards moving to block the exits. All the guards carried weapons she had never seen before. They were not the usual Council security force. "The humans have proven themselves in battle," Vextar continued. "Their soldiers fight without fear. Their commanders think in ways we do not expect. Their technology adapts faster than any species we have known. These should be good things. They are not." A delegate from the Tholian hegemony stood up. His rock-like body was twice as tall as Sarah. "The humans won 7 battles for us this year alone. They saved 3 of our colony worlds from raiders. How is this bad?" Wei. Vextar's 4 hands moved to activate a large display screen. It showed battle footage from human military operations. Sarah recognized some of the fights. She had been there for the victory celebrations afterward. "Watch how they fight," Vextar said. "They do not just win, they destroy completely. They study their enemies and find ways to defeat them that we never thought of. In the Kepler conflict, they won with half the ships we thought they needed. In the Vega system, they ended a war that had lasted 50 years in just 6 months. The footage showed human soldiers moving through alien cities. They worked together like they could read each other's minds. Their weapons were basic compared to alien technology, but they used them in smart ways." Sarah felt proud watching her people fight so well. "This proves humans are excellent allies," said a voice from the Crystalline Hierarchy section. "Why do we meet to discuss problems?" Vextar's smile returned. But it was cold now. "Because allies can become enemies. The humans have learned all our weaknesses. They have seen our military bases. They know where our important worlds are located. They understand how our weapons work. We taught them these things because we trusted them." Sarah stood up from her seat. "High Chancellor, humans have always been loyal to the Council. We have never broken our agreements. Our people have died fighting beside your soldiers. Why do you speak of us as a threat?" "Because you are a threat," Vextar said simply. "Not today. Perhaps not tomorrow. But someday. Your species grows too fast. You learn too quickly. You adapt too well. Ancient laws exist to prevent dangerous species from gaining too much power in our galaxy." The display changed to show documents that made Sarah's heart race. They were marked as classified Council materials. She saw detailed reports about human military capabilities. There were maps of Earth's solar system with notes about weak points. There were psychological profiles of human leaders, including herself. "These reports show that humans have hidden abilities," Vextar explained. "Your industrial capacity is 3 times larger than you reported. Your population is spread across more worlds than you admitted. Your military technology includes weapons you have not shared with us." Sarah tried to speak, but no words came out. The reports were accurate. Humanity had kept some secrets, just as every species did. It was normal to hold back some information for security reasons. "The Council has voted. Vextar announced. Humans will be relocated to designated worlds where they can live safely under our protection. Your colonies will be managed by council administrators. Your military will be dissolved. Your technology will be shared freely for the good of all species. The chamber erupted in voices. Some aliens protested the decision, others cheered. Sarah noticed that the ones cheering were all from the largest empires. The smaller species looked worried. This is illegal under council law, Sarah shouted over the noise. Species cannot be imprisoned without cause. Humans have committed no crimes. You have committed the crime of being too dangerous to remain free, Vextar replied. Guards, please escort Ambassador Chen to her new quarters. Zelani soldiers moved toward her. Their weapons were already powered up. Sarah reached slowly into her jacket pocket and pressed a hidden button on a small device. It looked like a communication pad, but it was much more. The device sent a coded message through quantum space toward Earth's solar system. The message was simple, but deadly important. The soldiers grabbed her arms. As they pulled her from her seat, Sarah looked around the chamber one last time. She saw fear in some alien faces. They knew this could happen to them too if they ever became too successful. You think you know humans, Sarah called out as the guards dragged her away. You think your studies taught you everything about us. You are wrong. You have seen us when we were being polite. You have never seen us when we are angry. Vextar laughed. Threats will not help you now, human. Your species will learn to accept their new place in our galaxy. Sarah smiled as the doors closed behind her. The quantum message would reach Admiral Kane within hours. The council thought they knew everything about human military power. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In hidden bases throughout Earth's solar system, automated systems received Sarah's signal and began powering up. The Shadow Fleet had been waiting in the darkness for 50 years, hoping this day would never come. But they were ready for it anyway. The galaxy was about to discover why humans studied history so carefully. They remembered every betrayal, every broken promise, every species that had tried to cage them, and they had planned accordingly. Admiral Marcus Kane stood in the command center of the TNV Retribution, watching ice crystals drift past the main viewing window. His ship hung in the darkness far beyond Pluto, where no alien sensors could detect it. Around him, dozens of officers worked quietly at their stations. They had been waiting here for 3 years, hoping they would never be needed. The quantum communication system beeped softly. Kane's communications officer, Lieutenant Torres, looked up from her screen with wide eyes. Admiral, we have a priority alpha message from Ambassador Chen, she said. Her voice was steady, but Kane could hear the tension underneath. On screen, Kane ordered. The main display showed a simple code sequence. Most people would think it was just random numbers. But Kane and his officers had memorized this code long ago. It meant the worst had happened. The Council had betrayed humanity. Signal verified, sir, Torres confirmed. Authentication codes are correct. This is a genuine Harvest Protocol authorization, Kane nodded slowly. For 50 years, human leaders had planned for this possibility. They remembered Earth's history. They knew that powerful groups always turned against weaker ones eventually. The Galactic Council had seemed friendly, but humans had learned never to trust completely. Send activation codes to all Shadow Fleet vessels, Kane commanded. Begin Prometheus Protocol. All crews to battle stations. Across the outer solar system, hidden bases began to wake up. On the dark side of asteroids, behind ice fields, and in the empty spaces between planets, human warships powered up their engines. These ships had been built in secret over decades. Every alien who visited Earth saw only the small patrol boats and cargo ships that humans used for normal business. They never suspected that humanity had built a real navy. Kane walked to the tactical display in the center of his command room. The screen showed the positions of 2,847 human warships. Each one was larger and more powerful than anything the Council believed humans could build. They had been constructed using technology stolen from a dozen different alien species, improved by human engineering. Status report from all fleet commanders, Kane called out. His tactical officer, Commander Hayes, read from his screen. First battle group reports ready for action. All 847 ships are armed and operational. Second battle group confirms 756 ships ready. Third battle group has 624 ships prepared for immediate departure. Support group shows 620 vessels ready for logistics operations. Kane smiled grimly. The council thought humans had maybe 200 primitive warships. They were about to learn that human beings were very good at keeping secrets. "Sir," called out his intelligence officer, Major Rodriguez. "We're receiving reports from our agents throughout council space. Sleeper cells are confirming the ambassador's arrest. Council fleets are moving to surround human colonies in 7 systems." Kane's hands tightened into fists. Human families lived on those colonies, children who had been born among the stars. The council was treating them like prisoners now, all because humanity had proven too useful to their military. "How long until our fastest ships can reach Vexazara?" Kane asked. 18 hours at maximum quantum fold speed, Hayes replied. "But sir, the Zelani home system has a defense fleet of 400 warships. Even with our superior technology." Kane turned to face his tactical officer. "Commander, how long have you been studying Zelani military doctrine?" 15 years, sir. "Since I graduated from the academy. And what is their greatest weakness?" Hayes thought for a moment. "They rely too heavily on centralized command structures. If you can disrupt their communication networks, their ships become confused and easy targets." "Correct," Kane said. "And where are their main communication hubs located?" "In orbit around their primary world, sir." Hayes paused as understanding hit him. "Sir, are you planning to attack the Zelani home system directly?" Kane moved to another display showing detailed intelligence files. For decades, human diplomats, traders, and military advisors had traveled throughout council space. They had been welcomed everywhere, given tours of military facilities, shown how alien technology worked. The aliens had thought they were being generous to their primitive human allies. "The council made one critical error," Kane explained to his staff. "They trusted us. Every human who served with their fleets learned their strengths and weaknesses. Every human advisor who visited their worlds mapped their defenses. Every human diplomat who attended their meetings recorded their secrets." Major Rodriguez nodded, understanding. "We know where every important target is located." "Exactly. We know which planets build their warships. We know which systems produce their food. We know where their leaders live, and where their armies train. Most importantly, we know that they have never fought an enemy who understands them this well." Kane activated his personal communicator and opened a channel to all fleet commanders. His voice carried to every ship in the Shadow Fleet, officers and crew of the Terran Shadow Fleet. "Today, the Galactic Council has revealed its true nature. They have arrested our ambassador and declared humanity too dangerous for freedom. They plan to cage our people and steal our worlds." He paused, looking out at the stars where his family's future hung in the balance. "For 50 years, we have served alongside alien soldiers. We have protected their worlds. We have shared our blood with their blood in battle. We offered friendship, and they have answered with betrayal." The communication channel crackled with the voices of nearly 3,000 ship captains, acknowledging his words. "But they have made a mistake that will cost them everything. They think human politeness means human weakness. They think our cooperation means we cannot fight alone. They are about to learn why human beings conquered their own world before we ever reached for the stars." Kane gestured to his tactical officer, who began displaying fleet movement orders on every ship's screens. "We will not strike randomly. We will not waste lives in pointless destruction. We will execute surgical strikes against military targets with overwhelming force. We will demonstrate that betraying humanity carries a price that no species can afford to pay." The fleet commanders began reporting their readiness. Kane listened to each confirmation, feeling the weight of command settle on his shoulders. In a few hours, these ships would begin humanity's first real war among the stars. "Remember your training," Kane continued. "Remember that we fight not for conquest, but for survival. The Council has declared us too dangerous to live free. Let us show them they were right to fear us, but wrong to think they could cage us. Kane closed the communication channel and turned to his immediate staff. Begin final preparations. I want our fastest attack groups ready to depart in 6 hours. We'll hit Vexizara first to send a message, then begin systematic destruction of Council military infrastructure. As his crew worked to prepare for battle, Kane looked once more at the intelligence files. 50 years of careful observation had given humanity advantages no other species possessed. The Council had created their own worst enemy by trusting the very people they now planned to betray. Soon, the galaxy would understand why humans studied their history so carefully. Every great empire eventually fell because it underestimated its enemies. The Council was about to join that list. Admiral Zeklos stood on the bridge of his flagship, the ZCS Dominion, feeling satisfied with another successful day. His defense fleet of 400 warships patrolled the Vexizara system with perfect efficiency. No enemy had ever threatened the Zalani homeworlds. No enemy would ever dare to try. The celebration was just beginning across the 7 planets of his system. News had arrived that the human problem had been solved peacefully. The dangerous species would be relocated to safe worlds, where they could live under proper supervision. Zeklos had fought alongside human soldiers before. They were clever fighters, but primitive. The Council had been wise to act before they became a real threat. Admiral, called his sensor operator, a young Zalani named Kextar. I'm detecting unusual readings at the edge of our system. Zeklos barely looked up from his tactical display. Define unusual, Lieutenant. Quantum disturbance pattern, sir. Something very large is about to exit fold space. Zeklos frowned. No ships were scheduled to arrive today. The quantum fold network was tightly controlled. Only Council military vessels had access to the coordinates for Zalani space. Probably a cargo convoy that got lost, Zeklos said. Send them proper navigation data and bill their company for the mistake. The main sensor screen flickered and changed. Kextar's face went pale. Sir. Multiple contacts emerging from quantum fold. I count. This cannot be right. What cannot be right? Zeklos demanded. I count nearly 3,000 ships, sir. All of them are military class. All of them are. They're enormous. Zeklos moved quickly to the sensor station. The screen showed what looked like a small moon approaching his system. But as the images became clearer, he realized he was looking at the largest fleet he had ever seen. The ships were dark and angular, built for war rather than beauty. They were twice the size of his largest dreadnoughts. Identification codes? Zeklos asked, though his stomach was already sinking. No Council transponders, sir. Wait. I'm getting a response to our standard hail. The main communication screen activated. A human face appeared, wearing an Earth military uniform. The man looked older than most humans Zeklos had met, with gray hair and cold eyes. Behind him, the bridge of his ship looked advanced beyond anything Zeklos had expected humans to possess. This is Admiral Marcus Kane of the Terran Federation Navy, the human said. His voice was calm but carried a threat that made Zeklos step backward. By order of Earth Command, this system is now under human control. You have exactly 10 minutes to surrender your fleet and evacuate all military installations. Refuse, and face immediate destruction. Zeklos found his voice after a moment of shock. This is Admiral Zeklos of the Zalani Defense Fleet. You are in violation of Council space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences. Kane's expression did not change. Admiral, your fleet consists of 400 ships. My fleet consists of 2,847 ships. Your weapons are plasma-based with an effective range of 200,000 kilometers. My weapons are kinetic-based with an effective range of 2 million kilometers. Your armor can withstand approximately 500 terajoules of energy. My lightest weapons deliver 2,000 terajoules per shot. The human continued speaking with the tone of someone reading a technical manual. Your reaction time for fleet maneuvers is 47 seconds due to your command structure. My reaction time is 3 seconds due to quantum-linked battle computers. You have 9 minutes to surrender. Zeklos felt rage replace his fear. You dare threaten the Zalani Empire? We have protected this galaxy for 10,000 years. Our military traditions stretch back to before your species learned to use fire. Kane nodded slowly. Your traditions are impressive, Admiral. They are also obsolete. 8 minutes. Zeklos turned to his communications officer. Send emergency signals to all Council fleets. Tell them we are under attack by a massive human force. Request immediate reinforcements. Sir, his tactical officer reported. Our quantum communication array has stopped working. All long-range communications are being blocked somehow. On the main screen, Kane smiled for the first time. It was not a pleasant smile. 7 minutes, Admiral. I suggest you use them to evacuate your crews to life pods. Zeklos had commanded fleets for 30 years. He had never retreated from a battle. His pride would not let him start now. All ships, attack Formation Delta. Target their largest vessels. Show these humans what Zelani warriors can do. The Zelani fleet moved with practiced precision. Their 400 ships spread into a battle formation that had won dozens of wars. Plasma cannons charged to full power. Shield generators activated to maximum strength. For a moment, Zeklos felt confident again. His fleet looked magnificent against the stars. Then, the humans opened fire. Zeklos had expected the bright flashes of plasma weapons. Instead, he saw nothing at first. The human ships launched what looked like small metal projectiles. The projectiles seemed to move slowly compared to energy weapons. Sir, those projectiles are accelerating. His sensor operator reported with growing alarm. They're approaching significant fractions of light speed. The first human projectile hit the ZCS Guardian, one of Zeklos's heavy cruisers. The ship simply disappeared. One moment it was there. The next moment there was only an expanding cloud of glowing metal vapor. What kind of weapon? Zeklos began to ask, but more impacts followed. The human projectiles struck with the force of small asteroids. Zelani shields, designed to stop plasma bursts, were useless against solid matter moving at such incredible speeds. Ship after ship vanished in brief flashes of light. Return fire, Zeklos ordered desperately. His ships launched their plasma cannons, but the human fleet was too far away. Zelani weapons could not reach targets at such range. The humans had positioned themselves perfectly to destroy his fleet while remaining safe from retaliation. Sir, we've lost 40 ships in the first salvo, his tactical officer reported. The humans are firing again. More projectiles flashed across space. Zeklos watched his proud fleet die ship by ship. The humans fired with mechanical precision, never missing, never wasting shots. Each projectile destroyed exactly one Zelani vessel. All ships retreat to planetary orbit, Zeklos commanded. Use the planets for cover. But even as his surviving ships tried to flee, the human weapons found them. The projectiles could change direction somehow, following their targets through space. Within 10 minutes, Zeklos's entire fleet had been reduced to glowing debris. On the communication screen, Kane appeared again. Admiral, your fleet has been eliminated. Planetary defenses are next unless you surrender immediately. Zeklos looked around his bridge. He was the only Zelani ship captain still alive in the system. His crew stared at him with fear and confusion. How? Zeklos asked quietly. Kane's expression softened slightly. You trusted us, Admiral. For 50 years, human observers studied your tactics, your technology, your weaknesses. We learned from every battle we fought beside you. We adapted every lesson you taught us. We improved every technology you shared with us. The human paused, looking directly at Zeklos. You made the mistake of thinking human cooperation meant human limitation. You confused our politeness with our capability. Now you understand the difference. Zeklos slumped in his command chair. What are your terms? Kane consulted something off-screen. Immediate evacuation of all military personnel from planetary surfaces. Transfer of all weapon systems to human control. Complete surrender of governmental authority. And if we comply, your civilians will be protected. Your culture will be preserved. Your people will be treated with the same respect you have shown humans over the past 50 years. Zeklos closed his eyes. The threat was clear. The Zalani had betrayed humanity's trust. Now they would live under human terms, or not at all. "We surrender," he said quietly. Kane nodded. "Wise choice, Admiral. Please prepare your crew for transport to the prisoner facility. Your war is over." High Chancellor Vex Tar paced back and forth in the emergency command center deep beneath the council building. The room was filled with military leaders from across the galaxy, all of them looking confused and frightened. Reports kept coming in, and each one was worse than the last. Status report from the Arcturus system called out General Thekvar of the Tholian hegemony. His rocky face showed no emotion, but Vextar could hear worry in his voice. "The third battle fleet has been destroyed. All 800 ships lost with no survivors." "How many human ships did it take?" asked Admiral Zex Lisa of the Crystalline Hierarchy. "According to the last transmission, approximately 250 human vessels," Thekvar replied. "The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. Vextar stopped pacing. In all his years of military planning, he had never heard of such a one-sided defeat. The Tholian Third Fleet was one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Their ships were massive and heavily armored. The idea that 250 human ships could destroy them so quickly seemed impossible. "What about the fortress worlds?" Vextar asked. Admiral Zex Lisa's crystal body flickered with nervous light patterns. "The barriers were bypassed, Chancellor. The human ships somehow opened holes in our quantum shields and destroyed the defense platforms. We don't understand how they did it." Defense Minister Kielthos leaned forward in his chair. His 6 arms moved restlessly as he spoke. "How many systems have fallen to human attack?" The tactical display in the center of the room lit up with red markers. Vextar counted them with growing horror. 17 systems in 3 days, he whispered. "They're not just attacking military targets. They're destroying our entire infrastructure." "What do you mean?" asked General Thekvar. Vextar pointed to the display. "Look at their target selection. Communication relays, administrative centers, training facilities, shipyards. They're not trying to conquer territory. They're dismantling our ability to function as a government." Intelligence Chief Mordak activated his personal screen and began reading from classified reports. "Our analysis suggests this is not their full military force. Captured human equipment shows manufacturing dates going back 50 years. They've been building this fleet since they first joined the Council." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For half a century, humans had pretended to be weak and primitive, while secretly constructing the most powerful navy the galaxy had ever seen. "How did our intelligence services miss this?" Vextar demanded. Mordak's expression was grim. "Because they were better at intelligence than we were. Every human who served with our fleets was actually a spy. Every human diplomat who visited our worlds was mapping our defenses. Every human advisor who studied our technology was learning our weaknesses." Admiral Zex Lisa's lights flickered faster. "Are you saying they planned this betrayal from the beginning?" "No," Mordak replied. "Our psychological profiles suggest they genuinely wanted friendship. But they also prepared for the possibility that we might betray them. Human history shows a pattern of trust combined with careful preparation for deception." Vextar activated the main communication system. "Get me status reports from all remaining fleet commanders." One by one, military leaders reported in. The news was consistently terrible. Human forces were attacking simultaneously across dozens of systems. They moved with perfect coordination, striking at exactly the right targets to cause maximum disruption. "Chancellor," called Captain Rex Lowe's of the Border Patrol. "We're receiving surrender requests from 12 member species. They want to negotiate separate peace treaties with the humans." Vextar felt his control slipping away. "Denied. No species leaves the Council without authorization. Sir, with respect, they're not asking for permission. The Veltari have already handed over control of their military to human commanders. The Nexari have declared neutrality and expelled all Council representatives from their territory." Defense Minister Kelthos stood up from his chair. "We need to consider diplomatic solutions. Perhaps if we offered the humans full membership." "Absolutely not," Vextar interrupted. "We cannot reward military aggression with political concessions." General Thekvar's voice was harsh. "Chancellor, what political concessions? They've already taken 17 systems. They've destroyed 3 of our major fleets. They're dictating terms from a position of total strength." Intelligence Chief Mordak activated another display showing human fleet movements. "Our projections suggest they have approximately 8,000 warships in total. Our remaining combined forces number less than 3,000 ships." The room erupted in shocked voices. Vexistar had known the humans were stronger than expected, but this was beyond anything he had imagined. "How is that possible?" Admiral Zexlisa asked. "We monitored human industrial capacity for decades." "They lied," Mordak said simply. "Our reports show they have hidden colonies throughout unexplored space. Their manufacturing facilities are distributed across hundreds of asteroid bases and orbital platforms. We never detected them because we weren't looking in the right places." Vextar activated his personal communicator and opened a channel to Admiral Kane's flagship. The human's face appeared on screen, looking calm and confident. "Chancellor Vextar," Kane said politely, "I assume you're calling to discuss terms. I'm calling to demand that you cease this illegal aggression immediately." Vextar replied, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Kane smiled. "Chancellor, you declared war on humanity when you decided to cage us. We're simply responding to your aggression. Would you like to discuss a ceasefire?" Vextar looked around the room at his military leaders. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. Some looked hopeful. Others looked resigned to defeat. "What are your terms?" Vextar asked quietly. "Complete surrender of all Council military forces. Transfer of governmental authority to human administration. Full cooperation with the reorganization of galactic civilization under human leadership." The alien leaders in the room began shouting protests. Vextar raised his hands for silence. "Those terms are completely unacceptable," he told Kane. "The Council has governed this galaxy for thousands of years. We cannot simply hand over authority to a species that has been spacefaring for less than a century." 2. Kane's expression hardened. "Chancellor, let me be clear about your situation. Your fleets are being destroyed faster than you can deploy them. Your member species are abandoning the Council to save themselves. Your territory is shrinking by the hour." The human paused, letting his words sink in. "You have perhaps 48 hours before we reach the Nexus system. At that point, you can surrender gracefully or face the same fate as your military commanders who chose to fight." "You're threatening the capital world?" Vextar asked in disbelief. "I'm stating facts, Chancellor. Your choice is simple. Surrender now and maintain some dignity, or be crushed completely and lose everything." Kane's image disappeared from the screen. Vextar looked around the room at the faces of his allies. He could see fear, anger, and resignation in their expressions. Defense Minister Kelthos was the first to speak. "Chancellor, we need to face reality. We cannot win this war. We cannot surrender either," Vextar replied. "If we give in to human demands, every species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us with force." General Thekvar stood up slowly. "Chancellor, every species in the galaxy already knows they can challenge us with force. The humans have proven it beyond question. The only choice now is whether we preserve something of our civilization or lose everything in a hopeless final battle." Vextar closed his eyes and tried to think. Everything had gone wrong so quickly. 3 days ago, he had been celebrating the solution to the human problem. Now the humans were dictating terms to the most powerful government in galactic history. "Prepare our remaining fleets for defense of the Nexus system," he finally ordered. "If the humans want to destroy the Council, they'll have to fight for it." The military leaders nodded and began making preparations. But Vextar could see in their faces that they were preparing for defeat, not victory. The age of Council dominance was ending, and everyone in the room knew it. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the TNV Retribution as his massive fleet approached the Nexus system. 6 months had passed since Ambassador Chen's arrest. In that time, the human Shadow Fleet had grown from 2,000 847 ships, to over 8,000 vessels, as Earth's main battle groups finally arrived from the Sol system. The view screen showed the most important star system in the galaxy. Nexus Prime, the Council's capital world, orbited a bright blue star, surrounded by defensive installations that had protected galactic government for 3,000 years. Today, those defenses would face their first real test. Status report, Kane ordered. Commander Hayes read from his tactical display. Long-range sensors detect 1,847 Council ships in defensive formation around the capital world. They represent 12 different species and include everything they could scrape together from across the galaxy. Kane nodded. The Council had assembled their last stand, with ships pulled from every corner of their territory. It was an impressive force by any normal standard. Unfortunately for them, human standards were no longer normal. "Sir," called Lieutenant Torres from communications, "we're receiving a transmission from the Council fleet. Admiral Vextar himself is commanding their forces." Kane smiled grimly. The Zalani leader had given up his political role to personally command this final battle. It showed either great courage or complete desperation. "Put him on screen." Vextar's blue face appeared, looking older and more tired than when Kane had last seen him. The Zalani's forearms moved nervously as he spoke. "Admiral Kane, I am prepared to offer terms for a negotiated settlement. The Council recognizes human independence and agrees to territorial concessions. In exchange, you will withdraw your forces and allow normal galactic government to resume." Kane considered the offer for exactly 3 seconds. Counter-proposal. "Admiral Vextar, surrender unconditionally within the next 10 minutes, and I will allow your crews to survive the coming battle. Refuse, and face complete annihilation." Vextar's expression hardened. "We have nearly 2,000 warships, Kane. Your numerical advantage is not overwhelming." Kane activated his own tactical display and shared it with the Council fleet. "Admiral, you have 1,847 ships. I have 8,127 ships. Your average vessel mass is 400,000 tons. My average vessel mass is 1,200,000 tons. Your weapons have been tested against outdated human technology. My weapons have been designed specifically to destroy Council ships." The human admiral paused to let those numbers sink in. "More importantly, Admiral, your crews are fighting to preserve a government that betrayed its closest ally. My crews are fighting for the survival of their species. Which force do you think will fight harder?" Vextar was quiet for a long moment. "You're asking me to surrender the capital of galactic civilization to a species that was primitive when my people built their first starship. I'm asking you to acknowledge reality," Kane replied. "Your civilization had its chance to coexist peacefully. You chose betrayal instead. Now you face the consequences." Kane looked around his bridge at the human officers who had trained their entire lives for this moment. "You have 9 minutes to decide, Admiral Vextar." The transmission ended. Kane turned to address his crew. "This is the final battle of our war for independence. The Council's combined fleet waits for us among the orbital platforms of their capital world. They believe their superior numbers and defensive positions will protect them." Kane activated the fleet communication system so his words would reach every human ship. "They are wrong. For 6 months, we have proven that human determination is stronger than alien arrogance. Today, we finish what they started when they betrayed Ambassador Chen." He paused, looking at the tactical display that showed nearly 2,000 enemy ships. "Remember that we fight, not just for ourselves, but for every species that might face the same choice in the future. The galaxy will watch this battle and learn that betrayal carries consequences no civilization can afford to pay." Kane gestured to his weapons officer. "Begin the attack." The human fleet moved forward in perfect formation. Their dark ships advanced like a storm cloud against the bright orbital platforms of Nexus Prime. The Council fleet spread out to meet them, their colorful hulls reflecting the light of the system's blue star. "Enemy fleet opening fire," reported Commander Hayes. Plasma beams and particle cannons reached out from the Council ships, lighting up space with rainbow colors. The human fleet's shields absorbed most of the damage, but several ships took hits. Kane watched his status displays show minor damage across his fleet. "Return fire," Kane ordered. The human response was devastating. Thousands of kinetic projectiles accelerated to enormous speeds and crossed space like invisible death. Where the Council weapons created beautiful light shows, human weapons created only brief flashes as enemy ships ceased to exist. "Direct hits on 400 enemy vessels," Hayes reported. "All targets destroyed." The Council fleet tried to adapt, spreading out to make targeting more difficult. But the human ships adjusted their formation perfectly, maintaining optimal firing positions while avoiding most enemy attacks. Kane watched the battle with professional satisfaction. His crews executed their training flawlessly. Every human ship knew exactly where to be and when to fire. They moved like parts of a single organism, responding to threats faster than any alien crew could match. "Sir, the Council fleet is trying to retreat toward the planetary defense platforms," Torres reported. "Pursue and destroy," Kane commanded. "Do not let them reach cover." The human ships accelerated, their advanced engines giving them speed advantages over most Council vessels. Kinetic weapons continued firing, methodically eliminating enemy ships one by one. Within 30 minutes, the battle was effectively over. Scattered Council ships tried to flee the system, but human pursuit squadrons hunted them down with ruthless efficiency. "Status report," Kane called out. Hayes consulted his displays. "Total enemy fleet eliminated. We lost 12 ships with minor damage to 37 others. All objectives achieved." Kane nodded and opened a communication channel to the surface of Nexus Prime. High Chancellor Vextar appeared on screen from what looked like an underground bunker. "Your fleet is destroyed, Chancellor," Kane said simply. "Surrender now, and preserve what remains of your government." Vextar looked broken and defeated. "What are your terms?" Kane had prepared for this moment for months. "The Galactic Council is dissolved immediately. All member species will negotiate separately with human authority for their future status. You personally will stand trial for crimes against humanity. And our people, our worlds, will be treated according to how they treated humans when they had power over us," Kane replied. "Species that showed friendship will receive friendship. Species that showed hostility will receive appropriate consequences." Kane looked directly at Vextar through the screen. "You taught us an important lesson, Chancellor. You showed us that the galaxy respects only strength. We have learned that lesson well." The transmission ended. Kane turned to his communications officer. "Send messages to all species throughout the galaxy. Inform them that humanity now administers galactic affairs. Species that wish to maintain their independence may do so by demonstrating their commitment to peaceful coexistence. Species that prefer council-style governance will find themselves living under human authority instead." Kane walked to the main view screen and looked down at Nexus Prime. The planet that had ruled the galaxy for millennia was now just another world under human control. "Sir," asked Commander Hayes, "what about the humans in Council custody?" Kane smiled for the first time in months. "Send rescue teams to every prison facility. Ambassador Chen and every other human held by Council forces are to be freed immediately." As his ships moved to occupy the Nexus system, Kane reflected on how quickly everything had changed. 6 months ago, humanity had been a junior partner in galactic civilization. Today, they were the undisputed masters of known space. The Council had been right about one thing: humans were too dangerous for membership. They were meant to lead.